Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. And I'm super excited to be here on this beautiful, Thursday morning, sharing my thoughts, sharing my opinions with you with regard to the very latest that is happening all over the world, right? But we focus a lot here in the United Kingdom, or we focus a lot on the United Kingdom because that's what we do right here at Relax Radio, right? And we are here to make sure that you have a lot of positivity as you go ahead with your day and make sure that you're always informed about the very latest that happens all over the world as well. So make sure you stay tuned. Now, if you want to share your thoughts and if you want to share your opinions with us, please go ahead. You can text me on 078 share your thoughts, share your opinions, because I would absolutely love to hear what you have to say as well. So don't forget to do that. And, I'm here to share my thoughts, share my opinions with you, but obviously, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions on this as well. Okay, so don't forget to do that. Now, while you're scrolling on your social media, you can actually go do us a favor, because you can go follow us on our socials. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, because that will help you stay updated about the very latest that happens, not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact all over the world. And don't forget to download the app either, because that is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. And that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed about the very latest that happens all over the world. All right, now let's actually head into our conversation, because we're going to be talking about how exactly the world is growing, right? And obviously, we need to talk about how the pandemic affected a lot of us, right? And when I say that, I mean in terms of how in terms of how we had to adjust our lifestyles, and how we have had to make certain changes to actually sort of go ahead with the way the world was working. These things were so different back then, before the pandemic, right? If you know what I mean. You basically had other worries. Right now, our main worries are surviving, getting through this pandemic, and also making sure that we are stable enough, we have enough money to get through the pandemic, right? And that is why we're going to be talking about this. Now, earlier we were just talking about how working from home is on the rise, and the reason for that, at least in my opinion, I think the reason for that is because people have grown much more comfortable with working from home, right? And the reason why that's so important is you sort of need to understand that the doubts and the uncertainties that we had with regard to the pandemic, they're still in place, right? Because even though most of our population is vaccinated, most of the people are on the way to getting their vaccination vaccines, and we're on the way to getting back into normal life, getting back to how our life was before the pandemic. Even though that's the case, there's still a lot of uncertainty, because we still haven't been able to get completely rid of this virus. It's still there, and it's almost what been almost 2 years ever since the pandemic began, right? So obviously, it's while we're trying to move forward, and while we're trying to go about with our lives and whatnot, there is still a lot of uncertainties that are there, right? And with that, people want to just work from home. People just want to spend more time with their family, take care of their family, and work from home, because also there has been some amount of research that has been conducted that essentially says that when you work from home, you are much more productive, right? So in instances like that, if you're much more productive at home, what that actually means is that officers themselves can actually cut down the costs that they spend on paying for the office space, paying for electricity, paying for water and whatnot, right? So in terms of offices as well, in my perspective, I feel like it's a good offer. However, not a lot of employers are in fact comfortable with not a lot of employers are in fact comfortable with adjusting to working from home, because they don't really want to see it as a permanent feature of the new industry, or of the new whole attitude, the new shift in the working industry, in corporate culture, right? So that is what that is about. However, while that's the case, a lot of people actually want to work from home. So I guess we'll just have to see how this whole thing progresses. If we just I guess we'll just have to actually observe how this thing progresses, right? Because maybe in time people will be more comfortable with working from home. Maybe that's the case, maybe not. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we just have to look and observe, right? And in terms of these jobs that are being created, Now we all know during the pandemic so many people lost their jobs, right? And it was very scary as well because so many people lost their jobs, and these people were struggling financially. They were struggling to, take care of their families. They were struggling to eat, and they were struggling to even pay rent. And that's just how bad the pandemic affected not just me and you, but in fact this entire world, right? So imagine in much much poorer countries it must be actually much worse than what we are going through right now. So for a lot of these people, they lost their jobs. And now what John Lewis is actually doing is that they're actually advertising, or rather they are creating a lot of jobs that will actually help help these people grow, help these people with their financial struggles as well. All right. And the reason I'm saying that is because they have created 500 jobs, or they're going to create 500 jobs, because there has been a surge in online shopping, because so many people are shopping online, and, they order so much online. So because of that, they have actually, that has caused an increased demand in the things that are bought online. And to address that demand, or rather to supply that demand, they've had to create new jobs, right? So in a way, it's absolutely amazing, because now we're slowly seeing how our economy is growing. People are slowly getting their jobs back. A lot of the jobs that were lost, last year, that they seem to be slowly coming back up, and people actually seem to be slowly, and things slowly seem to be turning for the favor of the people, right? And that is, I guess, that is something to be excited about, right? So while they're helping the economy grow, something else that John Lewis is actually doing is that it's helping all of these people with financial struggles, people who actually struggled to, people who actually struggled to pay, and who financially struggled during the pandemic, to actually address or solve most of those problems with these new jobs. So that is your positivity for this hour. And don't worry, because I will be here in a few more minutes with Hiba, and we will be discussing, the Windrush scandal, and we'll also be discussing long COVID. So until then, make sure you stay tuned, because it's going to be a lot of fun and interesting conversation